Good afternoon, everyone. It's Brian Caprice from Keep Trading Simple, and welcome to this week's Nadex Weekly Market Analysis. May 11th, we're just rolling through this year. It's unbelievable. I know I say it each week, but every week it's another surprise. Um, my voice is going in and out today, so we'll do the best, and hopefully I make it all the way through. An action-packed weekend for my kids, and again, coaching with wind outside is always harder, so I'll do my best, and hopefully my voice will stay. I'll probably stop a few times and just try to keep it hydrated with my drink over here. So anyway, with that said, pretty interesting week we have this week. A lot of speeches, a lot of big movers. Have had some crazy market movement already. Yesterday the indices just really kind of collapsed and fell through the floor. So it's going to be an interesting week. A lot of opportunities out there. A lot of opportunities have already happened. So it's hard to say that it's been a slow week because it hasn't. There's been a lot and some good movement out there. And I do think there's actually some great opportunities for this week as well. So let's go ahead and just jump in. I will say too, if I fumble around a little bit, if you guys heard the morning session today, I just switched into kind of a new office. My wife is now working from home, so I took the bigger office. And again, trying to bring monitors and things like that. It's weird. I only have two of my three. And I never really realized that I would miss a third monitor as much as I do. And I'm kind of fumbling around a little bit. So if it takes me a second to get to a window, you guys will know why. There we go. So for those of you that don't know me out there, again, I'm pretty open. I share pretty much everything, personal life and whatnot. But I'm the president and CEO of Keep Trading Simple. I've been working with Nadex now for God, I want to say it's like 3 years, almost four maybe. I think it's 4 in August or September-ish time frame is when I did the first piece for him. I have a very interesting, different trading style than a lot of people out there. I'm not a big indicators guy. You're not going to see a whole bunch of, put it this way, you can see my charts. I always joke with people, they got, 5 different fib ratios on their fans, extensions, retracements, and it's hard to make really much of it. I am a price action trader. I use supply and demand. I use previous price action to determine where I'm going to enter. I'm an if this then that based trader. So a lot of times I always joke around that I do not have a crystal ball on my desk. I don't know what the future holds, but I do know what the past has done. And I don't believe in magical percentages and things like that. I believe in what I can see. I have to be able to see, taste, touch, or feel it. And trading is no different for me. I like to keep it as simple as possible. I find when people make things super complicated is when they make the mistakes. I just believe in keeping it as simple as we possibly can. I started trading back in 2000, so I've been doing this quite a long time. I started the traditional way, stocks, traditional options. I'm not a 12th generation trader. My dad was actually a programmer for IBM. It's one of those things I learned by making a lot of mistakes and learn what not to do before I learn what to do. I've created a number of different strategies and courses and things like that. A lot of them are based around Nadex because I do these presentations. I want to give you guys basically the additional resources you need. I feel that Nadex is it's not the only thing that I trade, but it is one of the things that I feel that everybody has the ability to add it into their trading. And the reason why is because, again, when we get into the options realm, there are things you can do in options that you can't do in other asset classes, particularly the limited risk. And I think that's absolutely amazing. And I'm a big proponent of money management and position sizing. I feel like if you can master those two, even if you have a bad strategy, I still feel like you guys should be able to get ahead in your trading career. So with that said, I am a busy person. I do believe in technology. And let me just explain this because I will probably mention it a few times today. When I say I believe in technology, what I mean is using things like alerts. I don't believe that any person should sit in front of a computer for 18 hours a day. I believe that there are many tools and resources out there, things like alerts. You can have notifications. Everybody's got a cell phone now, right? And if you don't have a cell phone or because you're working, you have email. You can have it send alerts directly to your email address or your cell phone when price reaches a certain area or when a particular news event or something like that comes up. Use technology. That's why it's there, right? It makes life a lot easier when you kind of do those things. And again, why not take advantage of it, right? With that being said, I do have a couple little ones. They're not here today, so they probably will not make too much noise and interrupt us. But like I said, use the technology that we have. Be an if this then that trader. Figure out exactly when you're going to trade, right? Figure out your time frames that are going to be the best for you, and that's how you get ahead. Okay. Like I said, I don't believe you need to be here for 18 hours a day. Use news, use alerts, use those things. And again, I'll mention a lot of that today. So that's kind of why I dove into it. Before we begin, I do have to cover our Nadex risk disclaimer real quick. Reason why is because, again, we're going to talk about charts and risk and money management, things like that. So, keep in mind that trading on Nadex involves risk and may not be appropriate for all. Members risk losing the cost center of their transaction, including fees. Now, you should carefully consider whether trading on Nadex is appropriate for you in light of your investment experience and financial resources. And any trading decisions that you make are solely your responsibility and your own risk. Now, past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results, and none of the material presented herein is to be construed as a solicitation, recommendation, or offer to buy any financial instrument on Nadex or elsewhere. Nadex is subject to U.S. regulatory oversight by the CFTC, and Nadex is a registered trademark of the IG Group. All right, let's dive in. So, first things first, and again, allergies are killing me as well, guys. Upcoming news events. You guys know I absolutely love news trading. We're going to talk about what do we got left the rest of this week, how we can really kind of dial our trading in. Those of you who caught the Education Summit last week, you guys know that my three biggest kind of trade setups that I follow are: one, session opens; two is news trading; and three is retracements from news. So two out of those three are based off of news events. So we'll see what we have for the rest of the week. Then we will dive over and talk about indices, see what we got going on. Like I said, NQ was dropping through the floor yesterday. Is there an end in sight? Probably, right? We'll find out where those potential levels are. Then we'll cover Forex. Now, Forex is kind of slow today. Yesterday, it was just, it was booming. We were up like 180 pips in 24 hours on the pound. It has slowed today, and we'll see kind of where things are leveling out. I think tomorrow is going to be a pretty good day for FX with the US CPI numbers. Obviously, that's going to show inflation, and again, that will kind of make gold bounce a decent amount and give us some potential opportunity. Last but not least, we'll dive into commodities now. It was funny this morning. If you guys caught our session at 8:45 this morning, we were talking about how gold wasn't moving, and as Todd was saying that, it was starting to fall through the floor. It was kind of funny how that happens sometimes when the U.S. trader steps on and it hasn't done anything, and all of a sudden it just starts running. And that's what we saw. So we'll cover that and find those potential opportunities. With that, let's go right into the charts. So let me pull this up and go right into news. Bam, there we go. There are a number of different news sites. I tend to use Forex Factory. You can use DailyFX as well. I'll pull that up a lot of times. I like the fact that DailyFX has the consumer center, basically the trader sentiment, right? How many people are long or short, and it's funny to see when people get up in that 80 to 90% of people are long, and it's just dropping straight to the floor, right? I do like Forex Factory though, because again, I'm thinking things on a kind of more of a global spectrum. So I'm looking for this 24-hour pip change, and I just like to, I like to keep the news there at all times, no matter what I'm looking at. DailyFX, you kind of have to go in, but DailyFX does have, again, I talked about those alerts. You can receive notifications directly from DailyFX, okay, as far as when news releases are coming up. So that's kind of important to do. Today, again, at 10:30 this morning, we had Governor Bailey speaking, and there's a couple different highlights that we've seen come out of it. I wouldn't say anything of it was really necessarily earth-shattering, and that's always important to note. He is speaking multiple times today, and the pound literally over the weekend went crazy with them loosening their restrictions. And again, they're kind of continuing doing that. As far as news for the rest of the week, I'll just click it this way. You can see there's a lot of news tomorrow morning on Wednesday. I think Wednesday is going to be Wednesday and Friday, I think, are our two favorite days of the week for news this week. I like that tomorrow morning we have at 2 a.m. this preliminary GDP number. I think this is has the potential to be a pretty nice mover. Now, it's it was positive last time. It's forecast to be a bit negative. I feel like if that number comes in less than what they're forecasting, or even potentially positive a little bit, I feel like there could be an absolute just monster move inside of the pound tomorrow. So we'll see where it goes. And again, I think that's kind of like an opening, again, that's right before the UK market opens. So it will be kind of a lower volatility, but potential for a greater spike. I think that'll be a good one. At 5, we have the EU economic forecast. And again, this is where the gloom and doom for the EU can be kind of laid out tomorrow. I'm wondering if the euro pound is going to be a big trader tomorrow in the down direction, because if they mention that they're still seeing COVID effects and the fourth wave in Germany and that kind of stuff, that's pretty negative. Meanwhile, the UK is opening up, so it's kind of a counterbalance of news there. 8:30, again, I think this news release right here, I think this is pretty important. CPI, again, is a gauge of inflation. It's a month-over-month reading, so we can kind of see where we're moving. pretty important. It was 0.6 and 0.3 last time. It's supposed to be 0.2 and 0.3. If we start seeing it creeping up, and remember, everybody's talking inflation, everybody's waiting for inflation to kind of roll in here. If we start to see inflation, they really got to start talking about how they control it. All they keep saying is that any inflation that we see is going to dissipate by the end of the year. We'll see. I mean, I think this is the first reading where they're like, oh, it's going down. It's no big deal. But Warren Buffett has made comments in the last few weeks about he sees substantial inflation. We've seen energy prices just skyrocketing. We've seen food costs go up. So there's many things out there that we're kind of concerned about. And then we have the good old trusty crude oil at 10:30 tomorrow morning. Last time was an absolute huge miss. If I click on this, you guys can see last time the forecast was supposed to be a 1.9 million barrel drop. Now it's a 8, right? Huge, huge, huge was the actual forecast versus the forecasted. So could be some good opportunity. And again, oil had a great spike. I'm going to show you guys last week. We talked about it, and it was actually something I did on Wednesday for my students. But I wanted to share when I'm trading news, like how I think about it and what I'm looking for, particularly in the oil inventory report. And this is a perfect example that, again, it came in as a huge number. It should have been absolutely amazing for oil, but it did the exact opposite. It kind of rolled and went straight to the downside. So it was a nice little kind of out of the money binary situation. And again, I'll show you kind of how to play it tomorrow. And again, nice little setup, right? Bonds I'm not necessarily worried about. Now, tomorrow we have unemployment claims. So, unemployment claims. Where to begin on this one? So we got really kind of crappy unemployment numbers on Friday. Even the Fed was like, wow, these were really, really surprising. This morning, right? This morning, when you look at some of the news about that, we have Biden having a little video today talking about how, listen, well, actually, I guess we got to start with the new jobs posted. U.S. job openings soar to highest level on record, right? So there's a ton of people opening up, right? We saw the unemployment rate go higher, and at the same time, we have Biden talking about people have to take these jobs when they're open, or they're going to lose their unemployment. If you remember months ago, there was a lot of talk about unemployment and the benefits that the government provided. And it was one of those kind of political back and forth, one aisle versus the other. And one side said that, hey, listen, if you pay more than what a person makes, they're not going back to work. And again, now we're seeing the other side say, hey, if there's a job, you got to take it. You just can't live on unemployment. And it's exactly what, the one side of the aisle said to the other one. So it is interesting. And we're seeing unemployment go up, and we're seeing that, they're trying to hire people, but people are not taking these jobs. It's interesting. We're going to see how this kind of comes out with this unemployment claims numbers, if this is going to continue to rise or if it goes in the other direction. I know many states are still kind of all over the place. Maryland was an absolute nightmare. Some of the stories that I heard from people were just unbelievable. People just gave up. They're like, whatever. They're like, it's not even worth the time trying to reach unemployment. People would spend, you see things on Facebook. I called 96 times today and was unable to talk to a live person. I was like, what? How many? They're like, I just spent my entire day just sitting there dialing. So we'll see. I think unemployment on Thursday can really kind of set the markets off. And again, the indices have been pretty volatile this week. So yeah, we got to watch that. Now, at 11 o'clock on Thursday, I am really into this one. Again, you may or may not be a currencies trader, but he's due to speak at an online event hosted by the Bank of Canada. Canada has been pretty interesting with their numbers. They're starting to ease faster than other countries. They talked about they're going to start limiting their buybacks, their kind of QE. They're really coming out on the back end of this recovery thing. They're kind of leading with the UK. So again, some positive talk about we're tapering, we're seeing good things, even though they're having some issues. Like Justin Trudeau was talking about opening up borders, but at the same time, Ontario's having some major problems. If this is a very, if Macklin, if it's very positive, this could really start driving the dollar CAD down. And the dollar CAD is just, it's one of those things. There are not many times that I really enjoy trading the dollar CAD. There's not a lot of opportunity in it, compared to some of the other pairs out there. But when Macklin speaks, particularly in the environment right now, this is a major trading opportunity. So again, it's 11 o'clock. It's easy. Everybody can trade it. There could be some movement, and there's typically not a lot of volatility associated with it. So there may be some opportunities in some binaries at 11 o'clock on Thursday. On Friday, core retail sales is an absolutely huge number. It's supposed to be tiny, tiny, tiny to where we were last time, right? Looking at this core, right? Last time in April, they had forecast a 5.1%, and it came in at 8.4. It was huge, Big miss to the top side. Now it's supposed to be 0.8. So it's kind of like, wow, what happened? How do we go from 8.4 all the way down to 0.8? Now, some of this, again, was driven by stimulus checks going out and things like that. But again, that's a huge jump. Could that control? And again, if you guys aren't familiar with it, retail sales and core retail sales, they're part of the top 5, right? They're part of the big 5. And when I say big 5, what do I mean by that? I mean as far as the biggest movers, as far as the U.S. dollar goes. So again, if that number comes in, imagine if that number comes in negative for core and retail, man, it could be a red Friday, right? It could be a real red Friday. And again, followed up by industrial production. And again, the University of Maryland or University of Michigan consumer sentiment, man, imagine if that's, lower than 88 where we were last time, showing that the consumer is starting to get nervous. I don't think the consumer will get nervous. I feel like everything we've seen is pretty good right now. But again, that core retail sales goes down. That it could really turn Friday sour very, very fast. So it's a big one. So again, just looking top down, guys. Looking at this, I would say, hey, listen, if you're up and you can trade the open, you got a great release there. Wednesday morning at 8:30, if that's before your work time, there's going to be a big news release. Very easy to get in there pre-release. Wednesday at 11 Eastern, again, Macklin speaking. So again, maybe get in there, look at those binaries for, binaries or even maybe call spreads on Thursday. And again, Friday morning at 8:30 before the market's even open, we got this. Again, you can play this one in a pre-market move or maybe like a post, right? Again, both in currencies and again, this will definitely affect the indices. So a lot of things going on, right? Let's jump over into the markets and let's go into the equities. So, these are the levels we talked about this morning, and I mentioned the 41.19. We'd have to see what would happen at the open, and it looks like we had a quick spike up. They grabbed some orders, and typically, for the open, we deal with the 15-minute charts. And this is definitely a level you guys could have got short. As you guys know, for the open, we're looking for lower time frame based levels. This is a 15-minute chart right now. We had a level sitting right there, which would have been considered a short, right? Because we were going down. It was a tested level, and again, there's your open, right? So could you guys have grabbed the short here? Absolutely. It's a pullback with the trend, in the overnight. Perfect setup in this one, and ended up blowing through. Your target would have been at 41.20 or 41.19.25. You can blow through, and we mentioned, if we can get a 10.30 reversal in here, I mentioned earlier, I was like, if we can get 10.30 reversal, well, it literally turned this red candle right here. Here's 10.30. There's your 10.45. There would have been your entry down here at 41.02. And I mentioned, I talked about a knockout on it earlier. I actually didn't check that one. Let me pull it across right now. The S&P. Where is it? 41. Yeah, there was a 40.99. So that may have been a little bit far. That puts you right here. It would have given you from that. Again, if this is where our risk level was, that's how much risk you would have had in that trade. So if you're looking to see what your risk to return, and again, if you're not familiar with this one, watch the replay from this morning, and you guys will get this one. Let's pull it up here. Let's see what we're at right now. I always like to do this. There's where your risk level was at the knockout. It obviously didn't get broken, and right now you were at a 9.7, right, reward to risk. So again, nice trade off of that one, and this was pretty simple. 10 o'clock reversal, 10:30 reversal into a level we knew we had a knockout low. Your risk on that one was very tiny. It would have been about $5 or five points worth of risk on that one. So yeah, decent trade. It's over now. As we pull back up to this level, we know that it's a tested level. It may be something that we kind of roll over after lunch if we can go a little bit higher. As you can see, I mean, back and forth, it's been down. It did turn off a level. Again, it's one that we mentioned. So would I take it now? Let's see. It's putting us right there at 41.50. So 41.50 will be a psychological level as well. If it was 8:30 in the morning right now, I would be probably all over short. I still think it's probably something decent that you could get into. Do I absolutely love it now? Not as much as I liked it earlier today. Remember, the way that I rank things, particularly for futures, is I really like the morning opening prints off those 15-minute or 30 levels. At lunchtime, things obviously slow down, and that makes complete sense there. And again, these were the two we were looking for. Once this got short at the open, this was not a buy. This was a profit target, so we would not have been taking it. We would have had to move it lower. So we're already in kind of two different trades at this point. There's one more there, but I would say this is probably only a B ranking base trade on this one. If it wasn't open, I'd be much more into it, but it could be a potential rollover for later. I would watch kind of a couple of these zones in here again for tomorrow morning, but for the most part, again, we run into this a lot. 12:20 in the afternoon. A lot of the trade has already happened, particularly in the futures market. Um, there'll be some afternoon movement, but it's not going to be as good as what it was this morning already. So you've already had quite a bit of a capture here. I mean, your first one down would have been what, 50 points to the downside. Yeah, 50 points to the downside, and approximately what we're sitting at 40. So there's about 90 points captured already in the S. A lot of ES traders are going for 4 or 5 points a day. So this is a lot. Hopefully you guys are able to grab some. Looking at NQ, so NQ is bouncing back. That's kind of the level where we had it earlier. We talked about here was the open. We talked about being in a level. Was it the most ideal level for a reversal? Not really. And interestingly enough, it actually it held it's held its ground. And we mentioned this, going, hey, listen, we'll see if we start basing, and we did. We really started the base and go sideways right in that level. We knew it was there, and it's kind of like, hey, let's see what we can do at the open. And this did the same thing. It popped up. It grabbed the same order from. This would have been, again, these are the European Opens right there. And here's your reversal. 10 o'clock down to 11, and then continued back higher. So right now with this one, I would say we had the Harry Potter break right here, so I wouldn't use that level again. I would say that this level is probably done with your entry there. There's going to be a small level, and again, we could use this one. We don't have to. There's a smaller level there that, much like the ES, if it does come just a bit higher, it could roll. That roll could come in here approximately at 13,390. Some of these, this was a kind of a profit level we were looking for yesterday, so we'll remove that. This would be a target for me. I'm going to change this to yellow. The top side. Let's move this here. There we go. The one little area that I'm watching for is this guy right here. There's kind of a hidden level sitting right in there. It's a wick over wick for my students. They know what it is. The reason why I'm kind of curious about this level, and again, this could be kind of more of an overnight level if we make it there, is you guys notice that it's pink here, blue here, and green a little bit lower. It's getting into that top area where we're looking to find shorts again. So, this is one here, and again, this would be, change this to red, change this to white. If we can get, let's see, where is it? Actually, I'll just use this. I'll use a vertical. Visibility. Let's change this to black. Perfect. All right, there's the European Open. If by chance we can come through and really have an issue with this one, if we start basing through this one and start grinding after US market hours today, if we're up into this 13,537, kind of right here, right? This is that 3 o'clock open. And again, here's the 3 o'clock movement today. That could be a potential area we look for short tomorrow. And again, there is some European based data. So, again, coming in at 2 o'clock, so it may go a little bit early. But that may be an opportunity for us to get short and look for maybe somewhat of a rollback across. So kind of keep that on your radar. Actually, let me see something real quick while I got it up. Knockouts for tech, that is approximately at 13,537. No, there's no knockouts close on that one. Let's see. I don't have the daily call spread, so I won't be able to pull from that one. So yeah, right now there's not much, but I would, again, 5, 6 o'clock today, we can actually get a read whether or not there's a call spread or something up there. But there may be opportunity with that one. We'll see. Like I said, it's got to get through 13,390 first. If we come up and base through, again, look for a push through. The big question is, are we going to hit and roll, or are we going to hit and start basing and then look for this one to go higher in the overnight? YM. So YM, we were looking for this to continue to drop. It ended up going through the level and gave us an interesting Harry Potter trade in here. We were looking for this one to go down, and YM had a couple areas here. We didn't get the second entry. This is a trade that we've had pretty much forever, waiting for this to finally come down here and break. And you can see it stuck its head through, showing us that there were some buyers, but it's something we're going to hold for later still. Again, if we can kind of roll back to the downside. As you can see, we had an area right here. There's your 15-minute window. You can see we popped in, and those same people are having problems. So We didn't take the bounce at the reversal. Unfortunately, it blew way through before the reversal time. It was just an extremely negative kind of open at this point. I would say if we can roll again and price can get back down here to 33,997, look for a short lower. Okay, we had a nice little 3-to-1 set up there. Due to the fact that we had such a big kind of crash in price, there is probably the opportunity for a bit of a retracement coming through. And again, this would be getting long over here at 34, 320, 37, right? A kind of punch through again, especially with the spacing, they're getting ready to break, right? They punched it twice, mirror top, it's ready to go. So I mean, if we break through, and again, I would probably target probably up in that range is kind of where our first target. And again, you can see based off your level of risk, that's a decent runner to the top side, right? It would be somewhere along these lines. That puts us in at like a 4-to-1, right? Or I guess a 1-to-4 risk to reward ratio. Something along those lines, I think, is probably okay. And again, we like to see it and pull back, particularly in the afternoon, but I think we could have a long position in that one as well. Again, we break 33,997, we go short, we get long here, same scenario. And again, there's a couple different areas for the opening print of the UK session as well. Okay. Let's go down and do currencies, and let's run through the currencies a little bit faster because we've got a bunch of chop. And like I said, what do I use for currencies? Right now you can see there's really not a whole lot moving. 22, 26, 33, 22. Dollar Swiss is the best one at 37, right? So right now you can see that we're still in this red area. We had a level marked off before. This was kind of our peak, right? That we were talking about. You can see we've had a touch, we've had a touch, we've had a touch, we've had a touch, we've had a touch. So it's one of those levels that I'm going to be really going and shooting for this level down here. The one worry that I do have in this one is if we do look to take a short opportunity from here, and again, there's a couple ways we could do it. We could take one from this level right here. All right, so these are old levels, so we'll pull these old levels out. I would say I'd show some caution or some profit taking in this level right here, right? So the biggest issue with this one is if we do take a short position from here, we're not necessarily going to have it. And again, I'm on a 15. Let me just bring it to a 30. I can adjust that just a little bit. That's okay. Let's pull this down. As you can see, the 3-to-1 is right there. So it's not an ideal situation. But this here, I would say it's something we need to watch out for. But ultimately, I would look for this to kind of pull back all the way down to this level. And that gives us a 1 to 6.75. So, it's over the 1 to 3 of what we need. Where this one is coming in at. And again, this requires some dollar strength coming into the market. With that CPI number, I think that's kind of the catalyst we need for that one. But this is coming in with a break of 78. What is this? 78.21 or 78.22. Again, look, hit, drove a little bit deeper. We're waiting for it to break. There was one little kind of quick pullback, and that was kind of a U.S. market open with eventual profit targets down here at this level. Change that to green. We're going to have to change this to yellow until we get down there. Okay, because again, we want to make sure we get out before that 7773. That's where the buyer stepped in. Okay, something along those lines. As far as topside goes, I don't really necessarily love it. Let me pull this one back up, make sure we can see if we need to adjust the curve at all. Yeah, there was our intraday curve level. We could switch this one a little bit. We can drag it up just to get a little bit better of a reading there. Let's pull that across. Actually, let's adjust it down because we're gonna look for a crash in that one. There we go, and then we'll drop it down to a 30-minute. So you guys can see this one kind of coincides with coming out of this top level with a big kind of racetrack-based move, targeting it here again. And then we start getting into a little bit more of the finer details of the trading in there. But that's what I'd be looking for Aussie dollar. Aussie yen, kind of something similar. We ended up having a peak over the weekend. And again, this is a level that we expected to break. Again, we touched it. It based in there. We were looking for it to go higher. It didn't give us the pullback entry, so I don't have it drawn on there. Let's see. Let me pull this one up. Making a little adjustments on this one. Like I said, way too many touches at this level. You can see it pushed here, and then all things said, this one is it's not surprising that this one broke. Let's adjust this. Go. Let's drop it back down to 30 minutes. You can see it bouncing off this base here. This should be a yellow at this point. I'll take it off, but we could use that as a yellow. All right, so there's one. Again, I'm going to keep this yellow. This is a session-based entry, right? That would be a session-based or an Australian news entry, okay? Wouldn't just use it blindly, but again, for any type of Australian news, I think that's good. Again, the budget release is nothing big. Let's see here real quick. Let's go here, non-Aussie filter. Yeah, we're pretty much done for Aussie. So this is going to be a CPI thing. Yeah, so this would be a CPI play. Here for tomorrow morning. Okay, and you may say, well, wait a second, this is the Aussie N. Why the heck would this have anything to do with CPI? Well, the Aussie is a proxy for gold. Okay, so if this is able to rally back up again and we get the CPI reading and we have weakness again, that's potentially leads us higher, or vice versa. We have strength again, brings us right back to the downside. So yeah, keep that one on your radar. As far as the downside goes, I'm not necessarily interested in many buys at this point. We can see on a 30-minute when news comes out tomorrow, but I don't really, on the 30-minute, I don't really love a ton. And again, I don't necessarily want to be going long up. If I had to say where profit targets would be, probably here. Where again, this is a tested level and it got front run. So I mean, if you do end up getting a short, make sure you are out by over here at what is it, 84.77. Euro pound. So Euro pound has kind of been stuck, right? We had levels last week. We kind of got front run on it. It kind of ate those up. It took a little bounce here. It came back up. Harry Pottered off of this one. You guys can see right here. It came back up. Harry Pottered back down. Used it again and went lower again. But we talked about this last week that it was kind of forced in, and you can see this 85, 87. Had you waited for the farther one, again, it bounced, it bounced, it bounced. It went all the way up, hit the opposing side. There's your target, and it's just kind of going sideways. So on a 30-minute, this one is really not doing a whole lot right now. There's really not much we can do. Again, we can kind of, if you want to adjust these up, we could a bit, just to kind of give us a little bit better of kind of targets here. But right now, I mean, we're talking about a total of, whoops, no, not Magnum mode. Yeah, we're talking about 22 pips top to bottom between two levels. So, is it the ideal trading scenario right now? Nope, not ideal. We're in the green area. We're looking to go long, right? On a technical basis, it's a long, but the big question, and you guys, if you've heard any sessions lately, I've said it. I don't really, the pound is not really something I want to bet against right now. I mean, I'm more willing to bet against the European Union being weaker. So I mean, at this point, we have our one, arguably 2 or 3 touches at this point. I'm kind of more interested in this one, and again, there's another touch right here. I'm more interested in taking advantage of this here and bringing this back down till probably, I don't know, probably there is what we'd be looking for. And again, we saw the one touch before. There's 2, there's 3. So we're getting to a stage now where we get a Harry Potter in here. We take a short position here, right, along these lines, and we know we need to be out of a profit target. And again, that's right at the 5 to 1 mark, right? Oh, I had it and I couldn't let go. It's a 1 to 5. Right, risking 1 to make 5. That would be a break of approximately 85, 82. Now, why do I like this one? I think there'll be more pound strength coming in. And again, once we eventually run into these buyers that are holding this one up, I think this has the ability to collapse, and I'd put our profit target down here. Okay. Now remember, continuation patterns are not knockout-based trades. They're more binaries or call spreads. But sometimes we got to put a little bit longer duration. Now, is there news events that support this one? Yeah, obviously. We have this one tomorrow morning that will help it out. We have Bailey speaking over here. We have the EU economic forecast, which helps. So I mean, there's plenty of different catalysts to be able to get in here and kind of help us on this one. Right now, from being able to break that zone, it's only about 12 pips. So I mean, it could happen in an hour, right? So plenty of catalysts. If we come down and just start basing, telltale sign for tomorrow morning. Euro yen. Euro yen's kind of ugly right now. We had this little issue up top. We're kind of bouncing back and forth. Now you're seeing consolidation, right? The lows are, the highs are getting lower, the lows are getting higher. There's not really a whole lot that I like. The euro yen is, and really just the yen in general, we've had, we talked about being able to break through, and it did. It broke, it went down, it didn't go all the way. That was like a 1 to 5 or something. So it's one of those ones. It's like it's a weird pattern. It's a weird thing right now because the yen is obviously weak. Japan has been closing down, for additional restrictions, things like that. They're having issues with COVID. The European Union is in the same scenario. Can we take a news trade off of it? Answer is yeah, but it's one of those ones we got to snipe a little bit. It's a little bit too far out right now. And again, here's this level. Again, we talked about it before taking the break, and again, many breaks. It went almost to a 3 to 1 before turning back up again, and then you can see it became a base, a base, a base, a base, a base. So I think this level here is one that you need to watch out for. The 31,445. Um, if by some chance, and again, on a purely, all biases out, it's about 58 pips. Kind of a lot for this pair to move in the overnight. But if we can get there before the EU, the EU data tomorrow, could be good, right? I mean, it could be, but I just have a feeling we're going to start stagnating back and forth. And the way to play this with the EU economic forecast would be, look, go down to a 30-minute level, see if it's coming to an area where we've had big bits of movement, and then you can take a pre-release news trade. But right now, I don't really like a whole lot on this one. Euro dollar. We were looking for the euro dollar to fail, and it never gave us that clean breakthrough. And it did. It kind of, whoops. Go back. There we go. Right there. As you can see, this area has been one that has been hit, tagged, rode along the top, came back down, touched it, went through, touched it again. So it's one of those levels that, it's one we got to kind of keep our eye on. But are we, on the 30-minute, are we trending right now? The answer's not really. I mean, we're literally going back and forth between a 50 pip zone, and it's fine. Here's where the Sunday, where is it? Right there is where the Sunday gap occurred. And all we did was take it here and go down, came back up again, went right back down again, came right back up again, and it's not doing a whole lot. So this will be a big mover tomorrow. This CPI data, and again, this is kind of a bang bang one. We had this EU economic forecast, which can affect it, but the CPI, without a doubt, is going to affect it. If this comes in higher than expected, it should give us some dollar strength. If it comes in lower, for some reason, if it comes in negative, again, it should provide some European weakness. With a strong dollar kind of news-based trade there, we should be seeing this one come back down. So a way to play this may be to use this level here as a short opportunity. Okay. Bring this here. So any target, let's see, targets for shorts would be here. Okay. I think if I would use this one or the lower one, probably the lower one. I think on this one, you're gonna have to wait. Unfortunately, 12 o'clock today is not going to give us too much of an insight. And I really don't like the way that, so see how it does that? I'm not necessarily a big fan of that. I like the base here. I think this is a decent base. This is one we should watch out for longs going high. But this is not really necessarily the best base to be able to take this lower. And unfortunately, this was established from the past. So I'd love to tell you guys, hey, get short if it goes below 121.44. I think there's a short in there, but unfortunately, establishing the correct level of risk may be a bit difficult, particularly with the time. I mean, it's 12:48. In the afternoon, we're going to run out of space in this one pretty quickly. So, yeah, I think this is a good news one for tomorrow morning. I do think, again, if that number comes in higher than expected, I do think this one comes down and touches 120.67. Or again, if the EU data is pretty bad. As far as the pound yen goes, again, pound yen is, we're in the upper reaches here. It's not something I really want to go short off of. Again, if you were looking to trade this one early morning today, I mean, there was your tested level, right? There was your tested level going to the top side. There's your 9 o'clock, U.S. Open release. It literally fell in, came back up. We're more or less there. So I think this one goes higher. I think, it is kind of a little bit of the ways out there, but I think we have the ability to get up here to 155 this week. It's going to take a bit of movement, right? It's about 127 pips away, but this one currently has a daily ATR of 105. So we are literally 1 day away from being able to hit that level. And again, 155 is a big psychological. It's going to drive me nuts. There we go. it's a big psychological number. It's got a 5 and 2 double zeros. So, it's one that people will be looking at, right? We're at 153.85 right now. It doesn't mean a whole lot, but again, I think we can get higher. And if you're looking to get long this position, I think if we can time this, again, we've had 1 touch, 2 touches, kind of like a 3, like depending on how it bounces through. It may take a small bounce and then bounce through. I think this one, if we can break through the 154.04 level or just 154 flat, um, I think this has good. I think this has good potential to get up to 155 by the end of the week. Okay. Oops. I don't know why that one is flagged. I didn't even know I could do that. That was kind of funky. Oh no. All right. So here was our Harry Potter trade from yesterday. Since that time, it hasn't done a whole lot. Really kind of just chopped back and forth. It's been staying inside of, like a 30 pip area, so not really a whole lot of trend. Again, this is one I still think we get to go higher. This one it was a rocket ship yesterday. Again, Harry Potter being those 3 hits above a base, a pullback, and a launch. I like this one. The problem I have with this one is finding kind of an area to get, another entry into. There's a small base here, and it's kind of tested, right? It's kind of tested, but then we got kind of front running over here. And, I don't really like drawing a zone off of this because the green candle is lower than the red. So it's not ideal for me. I do like how we have this, though. I do like how we have the wicks that are going higher, 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 higher. So it's kind of the same thinking that I have with the pound yen. I like it higher. I don't necessarily have the best entry. I'd like to get a little bit of a base, and then maybe tomorrow morning we can get a better entry on this one. But again, I'm still bullish the pound. I think they're in the best scenario of everybody right now. Dollar CAD. So dollar CAD is I wouldn't say it's exciting, right? This is the same place we were on Friday. So it's Tuesday now. We really haven't done a whole lot. It's been kind of consolidated inside of like a 30 pip range. So it hasn't really necessarily been the most tradable. We talked about a zone up here breaking, and it did. It finally broke and kind of went really, really far. I think with this news, and again, this is Thursday the 13th, I'm pretty excited for this speech. Now, again, tomorrow we'll have some movement with CPI. That'll move everything, right? Crude oil will help it a little bit. But I think this actual Canadian news, I think becomes a big mover for this one. Looking at this on a larger time frame, and again, this is one of those interesting ones that you got to kind of watch out for, right? Here's what the news was. We talked about a break-in. If you look back, and again, it looks like I'm going to have to go even to a higher time frame. Here's the daily. The last time that we were here was in September of 2017. Okay. I can pull this one off, and we'll go down and we'll mark it. Probably there, but can I see it on the 4-hour? It's not going to let me go back far enough. Nope. Too far back. I can't pull that much historical data. So I kind of, let's see. That's fine. I'll just do it off of there. All right. So what we know is we are in an area now where buyers have stepped in. Okay. So the question is, are we going to get some type of a base in here, right? On a 4-hour basis, you can see there's no real trend right now. We are just chopping sideways, dropping it down to a 30-minute chart. It's kind of the same thing. I wouldn't say that there's a lot of explosive movement. You can see the area up here at 2130-ish. It's kind of a base, and it's hit it and dropped and hit it again. So I mean, it's hit the level twice. But I think if we can get a little bit more, and again, when I'm saying, it's kind of here is the area that's been hit. But look, we have 1, 2, and 3, and then vice versa on the downside. So we're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place for this one inside of a larger level, right? That's what the 2 green lines are. So I would say right now, if they mention that, the Ontario is bad and things like that, and we see some type of a very weak Canadian, again, tomorrow could be a great day, right, for the dollar, right? If inflation comes in higher than expected, that is very positive for the dollar. That may be the catalyst that drives us through, in which case you look for some type of a long. And, I mentioned the alerts. What you do is you set an alert a little bit before this. Maybe you set an alert down here at 21.28. That way, when it breaks through 21.30, you've had some time to get back up there and set a trade, right? But we have the opportunity to go higher before we have the Canadian data. And then again, on Thursday, we get the Canadian data. Do we come from back here and roll back down again? I think it's highly possible, okay? Based off of this larger time frame, and again, there's a smaller zone there. I think at this point, now that we've touched, I would say that you need to focus on this little last bit right here is kind of the only clean level we have left of buyers, okay? So kind of the same thinking as well, that if we can come down and be down here before either of those new CPI or Macklin speaking. I think either of those two has the opportunity. You can see, look down here, all these things. You can see all the flags. I think there's good opportunity in both those. Now, dollar Swiss has been a big mover today, and I wouldn't say necessarily huge, but we had a big push up. Could you have traded this one? Yeah, absolutely. There was your spike, right? This is an easy setup. I hope some of you guys were able to grab it, right? Here's your spike. There's basically your 3 o'clock window is right here. We came back and retested it. Here's your session open. There's your session open in a 30-minute level. Okay. So again, tradable today, it's already done. If you guys didn't catch it, it's already a little bit too late. And again, the other session open would have been right here. But again, not really an established level one way or the other. This one established from the open. I'm going to pull this one right here. I like how this kind of went, although there's a little hiccup right there, but I think that's decent. Any profits long, we need to get profit before 90, 85. Find another decent level from that one. Yeah, we could use this. This is a 4-hour level. Let's see, can I see it? I can see it. Actually, there's the level. Yeah, it's nice little pop off that one. So, all right. Let's see. That gives us about 70 pips, so that's decent. So yeah, there's a potential long sitting right there. And again, if you don't know how to do this, set an alert. You can set an alert right there. I'd say probably there's my bracket right now. And again, it's 12:30. This one's not going to have a ton of movement, but I think either of these two levels are interesting. I don't necessarily want to go short, and actually, I guess I should let's put this here. That gives us a confirmation test on that. Let's pull it this way. So 90.91 and 89.50, top and bottom is kind of what we're looking for as far as our range goes. We'll see if we have any, kind of better opportunity in this one. But that would have been your trade of the morning for this. Dollar yen. All right, so dollar yen, we had this level down here, and look, we sliced through it. And again, 1, 2, 3, we pushed through. Next level lower. Let's pull 30-minute candles. This one has just been kind of just like, ugh. As you can see, if I extend this across, look at this. Based here, based through here, chop, hit it, based in it again, came lower. So it likes that level a lot, but let's see if we can move on and get something clean for this one for this week. And again, this was a target based off of a short here, so we don't need it anymore. Let's find clean entries. I'd say there is another small level there. Let's see which one looks better on an hourly. I should like that other one better. Let's look at this one, drop it back down to a 30-minute. Okay, I missed by just a little bit. All right, so 108.20. And top side, I'm going to use this level right here. Although it did hit pretty good, but I like the way that those wicks went down. So 108.94, 108.20, top and bottom. All right, for the dollar yen. Again, that will be a mover with CPI tomorrow. Okay. All right, let's go into the commodities now. Let's go into crude oil. So crude oil, a little bit volatile, right? A little bit crazy. A little bit nuts. This was an alert. All right, so let me go back and let's explain this from last week because I told you guys I would do this. Here's our education piece of it. So as you can see, right about here is when I was doing the presentation for my students, about 9:30 in the morning. Let's go down to a 15-minute. All right, so just so everybody's on the same page so you guys understand. what we were doing last week is I was trying to help you guys understand that oil has two times when it moves, right? It has the European session and has the US session. It tends not to move during both sessions. Sometimes for oil inventory reports, it's all European session and it just chops in US session. Sometimes, again, here was another one. It didn't do a whole lot and we got crazy movement in the next session because if you take this, bring this down to 2, right, 14, there. Okay, that's what the next session. So some days you get this, some days you get this. Well, I saw the consolidated time frame. I was like, all right, look, it's not doing a whole lot. It's chopping back and forth. Right about here, right about 9:30 is when I do the presentation for my students, and we knew that we had a 10:30 kind of data release, right? So when we were looking at this, we were waiting for this to kind of slow down. Now, the way to trade news typically with oil is to drop it down to 5-minute charts. Okay. And really, any news you can do this, but it works particularly well for these charts, for oil inventory reports. And the reason why I liked it so much is because, again, I know that I'm really getting this scenario where the UK session's the big mover and then it's a consolidated US, or option B, right? Option number 2. We have a small consolidated European session and we're looking for a big mover. So I knew that I was expecting a big move. We saw price come up and it rallied back up. Now it was quite high, right? It was pushing and we were like, listen, it's kind of on the higher end of the curve here. We're in the red area. We like that. We like the fact that it had been up here and had been turned around earlier in the morning. And what happened was I looked and I said, hey, listen, price has stopped. What type of risk could we get inside of a position? There was a binary on last week, and it was a binary down here at 65.70. As price was starting to kind of fluctuate back and forth, you were able to get into this one for $18 risk. Okay. As you guys know, with Nadex, it's literally the cost to get in plus $1 per contract, right? It was $18 risk to get into this position. All it needed to do before oil expired, which would have been kind of over in this area here, right? Yeah, right there. All it needed to do was to touch that line and we could have sold this being at the money for about 50 bucks. Risking 18 to make 50 is great. So it came down and actually on this first burst, you would have been able to get out of it because it became so close. You would have been able to get it 2-to-1, 3-to-1 out of that binary position. It came back up again, but as you can see, it continued to collapse. Now, if you guys remember what the news was from last week, where we go, it was minus 8 million barrels. Okay, now the reason I wanted to spend a little bit extra time on this one is because I got a question. I got an email last week that says, wait a second, I don't understand, Brian. It was minus 8 million barrels, but it went down. I don't understand. It's supposed to be good for price because we have a whole lot less. You're absolutely correct. Technically, if we have less supply, that should mean there's a greater push from demand, right? Because everything is about supply and demand. But think about it. Everybody out there that sees this minus 8 million barrels, what do you think every single retail trader out there is doing? Oh, I got to buy it. This is good, right? This is good, right? And there was a little initial response, right? But the first thing that it did, it went higher, 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 higher. It broke just above this candle right here, right? That candle is sitting right here. And again, I want you guys to think about this. The second it goes above, what is that? It's a break of resistance, okay? Soon as it breaks through, every support and resistance trader was like, I'm buying it. Every single person that saw that release that said, oh my God, it's 8 million barrels, I'm buying it and it's a break. There we go. I'm going long, right? And what did it do? It knew exactly when everybody got in and it went all the way down almost to this binary. You know, the fact that it closed all the way down here, I mean, it closed what? 70 cents lower than the binary. There was plenty of different options to be able to get out of this thing. And it was a huge move. And again, it went in the opposite direction because it was an easy trap for retail traders. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what color this is, right? It doesn't matter what color this is. It matters that the 8 million was a big miss from the 1.9 million forecast. And the end result was major movement. And again, from its little trap here to where oil closed, it actually closed over here, but down, $1.87. So an absolute huge movement in price. Okay. Now, what are we looking for tomorrow? Kind of the same thinking. Right now, we've had quite a spike, right? From 9 o'clock this morning into the open. I mean, this is what we dealt with. You know, this is where our kind of our gap was from Friday. We kind of pushed up to this number. We kind of pulled back down, kind of messed around, kind of pushed back up again. But right now, we have solid levels at 65.81 and 62.90. At 12.50, you know, basically, 22 hours before the news release, now is not when we can really call our shots. But what you can do is after the Nadex contracts reprint today, start kind of getting an idea. And an easy thing that I would do is I would say, go out there and I'll actually tell you guys right now, let's say crude oil right now, based off of where current price is, I'm looking at the knockouts, right? Actually, let's pull this across. I'll just show you exactly what I'm looking at. Boom, right there. If I just click one of these, I can start to get an idea. All right. So we know that I have levels at 80 at what 65.81. Looking at these indicative values, it looks like there's a 65.50, which is right here, right? Does the 65.50 meet what we're looking for if we're at 65, what we say, 65.81? Let's go ahead and do a horizontal line at 65. What did I say? Yeah, 65.81. 65.81. Okay. There's a one level right there. Is that the highest quality? Yeah, maybe, maybe not, right? But it's something we can need to watch out for. And it is a level, right? I mean, we could box this off and grab this level right here, right? You could say, oh, but look at this. Okay. Well, problem is the knockout is on. Actually, there's a knockout there, but that's a bit far. This is a little bit shy. Okay. So either of those two would be okay. And then downside, let's see, we were looking at 62.90. There's a 62.50, which puts us all the way down here. And again, our 62.90 is right here. So let's see, horizontal line. Okay. So that's kind of where we're bracketed in right now. Right. That's probably where we're bracketed in. So yeah, right now there's not going to be enough there, but again, mark these off on your charts, and again, you'll know. I always put the black lines when I'm doing it here. The reason why is because I can see them. The blue lines over here are nice because it moves it around, but I want to know where my analysis is, if that makes sense for you guys. So watch those, and again, what I would do is tonight, I would go back into Nadex after the contracts reprint at 6 o'clock, go in there and see where the daily call spreads are, and go and see kind of where the prices are for the binary, so you can set one of those up. I would expect after last week's 8 and then this week's hacking of the pipeline, I feel like there's some decent opportunity this week for some movement. Now, remember, again, what are we going to get? There's two scenarios. We're going to get this scenario, scenario A or number B, right? Number A or number B. Those are the two scenarios we're going to get. So if you're going to trade the first one, again, be aggressive. If not, if we have a small kind of compressed area, wait for an explosion in the U.S. session for tomorrow for oil. Okay. Looking at gold. So yeah, there's gold. So this morning we were up top, and with Todd I mentioned, hey, listen, we had a level here, it had been hit. You're waiting for this thing to break, right? Here's your 1, here's your 2, here's your 3. It sliced through it like warm butter. There was your UK session. There was your profit taking, and we mentioned, hey, listen, we got a level at 81.15. Here's your open trade, right? Here is your open, right? I'll just copy this one. There was your open, 9:30 right there. Okay. As I mentioned last week, again, I like session open, I like news release, and I like news retracement, right? Well, here is your session opener, right? Is it at the level of 85.15? No. Is it close? Yes, it's very, very close. And we knew that at 9:30 we were going to have people stepping in. This was an accelerated drop. Again, this is the profit taking from the European session. Just like that last chart, you could say that here's the European session, right? There's kind of the European session. And I'll change that to blue. Followed by the US trader stepping in, and that's what we're dealing with right now. Okay. So again, do you see how there tends to be one major session worth of movement? And now where is it? Well, here's where the open is. It's exactly back to where the open was. You guys can, I don't know if you guys can see it over here. It's down 0.06% on the day. It's at the exact spot where we were last night. But yet we moved up, we had a huge drop down, and then full retracement back again. This is what trading is like. Now, for tomorrow, CPI is going to be extremely important. I think the 18.15 is going to be very important. And we know we have a bigger time frame level all the way up here at 80.60. I would say based off of what we saw on the overnight, we got to kind of keep focus on this level as well. Now, if this is not a level that, it's not going to hold back major buyers, right? But if we're at that level before the news release or at the European Open tomorrow morning, again, the European Open is going to take place right. I need to actually go over a little bit more. Right here, right? If we are sitting here tomorrow, there's a short opportunity there. Okay. So this is kind of how we're set up right now with buyers and selling. Okay. 1842, 1815. CPI tomorrow will absolutely have an effect on gold. And again, there's your setups for that. Last but not least, let's look at silver. Silver's kind of chasing. Silver's kind of doing the same thing. I don't need to be on this. So let's go to 30 minute. You can see this one. Here's where we stopped on Friday, right? We popped it. We came through. We popped it. So this one is unfortunately pretty ugly right now with the amount of wicks that we have in it. I would say I'll pull this one forward. Actually, I'll leave that because of those touches. I would say that if you're looking for something with this one, it's probably going to follow gold. I'd be looking at something along those lines. Right now, we're kind of in the middle for no man's land. I think silver has the ability to pop a little bit more, but right now, I'd say for the market opens at least, look at 26.77 and 28.14, top and bottom. Okay, but we're in no man's land. We're sitting in the middle right now. We got what? 70 cents to go down and about 70 cents to go up. We need to move to one of those two locations first. But I think with CPI, I think gold is going to be the better play tomorrow. Okay. All right, guys. So with that said, that is it for today's session. Kind of went pretty quick today. Make sure you mark it off again Tuesday, May 18th at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll see what the opportunities look at. Remember, this is a weekly breakdown. We kind of go over news and everything else. If you guys are able to attend those morning sessions, they are broadcast live from 8:45 a.m. to 9 a.m. before the markets open. And it's a way for us to kind of get where the hottest opportunities are at, first thing in the morning. So if you can attend those, it's very, very simple. There's nothing to sign up for. Literally go to YouTube, search Nadex, hit the notification and follow button, and you'll get a notification when we go live every morning. And it's only 15 minutes so we can get our trades in before the open. So with that said, I'm out of here. If you have any questions, you guys are more than welcome to email me. Go to the website, keeptradingsimple.com, support at keeptradingsimple.com, or I have a YouTube page as well, but most of the stuff I do is for Nadex. So with that said, I'm out of here. You guys have a great afternoon. And for those of you that can attend, I will catch you in the morning. Take care.